Well, all right. Here we are once again back at Pastor B's kitchen table. This is the place we break it down, chop it up, and put it back together again. We've been covering a myriad of subjects over these past months. And today we have a new topic with a new group of experts that's going to deal with the issue called pre planning, dealing with our pre planning of our funeral arrangement. I know you don't want to think about that, but here at the kitchen table, we talk about everything. So I want to introduce you to our guest today. Will you say hello to the kitchen table audience? We have Ms. Mary Carter and we have Trenton. Will you say hello to the kitchen table audience, please?
Hello, kitchen table audience.
Nice to be here. Amen. Amen. And you guys are with Dignity Memorial. Tell us, who is Dignity Memorial?
Okay, Dignity Memorial is actually our brand.
Okay.
Our parent company is Service Corporation International, or SCI. It is our headquarters are located right here in Houston on Allen Parkway. Our founder is Robert Waltrip. He started in 1962 with Heights Funeral Home. Today, we have over 1,900 locations over a 44-state area. That includes Puerto Rico and Canada. Wow. Mr. Waltrip is still our CEO, but we are the provider of cemetery, funeral, and cremation services in North America.
Wow, that is great. I mean, we had no idea about that. We've seen dignity signs pop up, all that. I mean, all around the city for sure. But I know that there's some of our viewers who are wondering now, can you explain to us, what does dignity do?
At Dignity, we realize that no two people are the same. We're all made up of little details that make us unique and irreplaceable, right?
Right.
And so when it comes to planning a celebration of life, we feel that it's important that each person find a provider that honors the differences to creating a meaningful and fitting service that honors that person the way that they choose to be honored. And we know that there's a lot of things that set different funeral homes apart from one another, but from us, we offer things that no others can offer, such as family first cost protection. What that means is that, God forbid, a family should lose a child that's under the age of 21. If that family is pre-planned with us, we cover the cost of those services for that child at $0 to the family. Another thing that we offer for families is the purchase protection plan. So let's say, for example, that a family comes and they buy their cemetery property. And something happens to where they pass away before they're able to get that cemetery property paid off. We actually pay it off in full for the family, up to $5,000 free of charge. Another thing is our lifetime flexibility. We allow for people to make adjustments and changes to their policies up until the time of death. And it's because we understand that people change their minds and their wishes from time to time. So if you were to arrange a cremation policy with us today, and in 10 years you decided you didn't want to be cremated, you wanted to have a traditional funeral service, then we can make those adjustments for you. And last but not least, we offer relocation protection. So that means if you were to pre-plan here in Houston and later on in life, you decide to move to another state or out of the country, we're going to move your policy with you. And it's like for like, meaning that if you have a funeral policy here and you move to California, to say Los Angeles, then your funeral policy would go with you. And everything that you had purchased here would be honored at our location there, regardless of the difference in cost.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's you talking about the parallel between Texas and California. We know there's going to be a significant price increase or reduction. You're right. I mean, that is. So here's a common question. A common question is, how do we initiate conversations with our families about pre-planning services?
Well, we recommend there's 4 steps that we recommend. First and foremost is to start to have a conversation. That is
Mm-hmm.
by reflecting upon what's important to you in life. You
Mm-hmm.
sit down and have that discussion with your family. You record your wishes and your options. And we also provide a complimentary personal planning guide for you to do so. The complimentary personal planning guide will answer about 95% of the questions that people have about prearranging.
Okay.
Our families have found it to be invaluable. Then what you do, once you've done that, you can sit down and talk to somebody like Trenton or myself to actually secure a plan that works best for you and your budget. Then you share that information with your family members and make them aware of what your final wishes are.
Wow. Wow. Is there any particular age, any particular stage in life that you would recommend someone begins to do this?
Well, some people say that, well, I'm too young. And granted, while you may be in the prime of your life, there's no guarantee as to how much time we have on this earth.
Right.
So I've met with some families who are in their 30s and 40s and beyond. So in actuality, it just depends upon you and your family.
Right. Okay. That's good to know. So you're never too young, and you certainly are not too old.
No, sir.
Because that's something that we always want to push back as far as possible when the conversation regarding death. But just as sure as we're born, we're certainly going to die. And so I think that is now. Here's the elephant in the room. So many times you start talking about pre-arrangement and pre-planning, cost considerations. Is this something that is paid, in one lump sum, or is it paid over time? If you could just give us a little information regarding that, please.
Well, in terms of cost, the average cost of a traditional funeral service in 1980 was $2,779. Last year, the average cost was $7,848. That's an increase of about 182% over
Wow. Yeah.
So, and that $7,848 does not include the cost of the cemetery services. Now, in reference to making payments on a plan, you have an option. You can pay for it in full, or you can pay it in 3 years or 5 years. You can take monthly payments to pay it off.
Okay. And I guess as Trenton was saying, it's all depending on what you individually desire.
Right. It's going to vary. We sit down with our client families and have a real discussion about the type of service that they want, the celebration of life, something that's going to reflect them and the type of legacy that they want to leave for their families.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. That is great to hear that you want to sit down and say, I like to see the legacy of life, the celebration of life. Explain something for us, for all of our viewers. The actual differentiation between the service and the cemetery. That's what you just stated. So can you explain to us what are the variables that we're talking about?
Sure. In the cemetery, that's where the burial takes place. In the cemetery, you need 4 components for an actual burial. You need a space, number one. You need the opening and closing of the grave. You need a marker and an outer burial container. And those items are separate and apart from the actual funeral. Okay.
And so is that another price point, or is that also inclusive?
That is another price point. It is not include. The two are not combined. They're separate and apart. They're separate entities.
So if someone desired to say, okay, I desire to make sure that everything is covered. That is my celebration of service life and my being buried in the cemetery. So what would that average cost be?
Oh, that's going to be difficult to say, and I'm not hedging. It's difficult to say because it's contingent upon which cemetery you select and which garden you select, because the prices do vary. It also depends upon, in terms of which funeral home you select. Each funeral home has its respective price list.
Ooh. Okay. So are you suggesting that there is some room for perhaps negotiation with the funeral homes, or is this a set price, or is this something that Dignity would handle for us? How would that interaction work?
So the way we try to work with each family is to find what best fits their individual budget and their individual wishes. The best reason for you to choose Dignity is because we have over 40 locations just here in the Houston area. So it's a guaranteed fact that we can find something that works for everyone. Now, it's easier for you to come to a one-stop, and we can show you the price points for the funeral home and cemetery that's closest in reference to your address. But that may not be the best price point for you. So that's where it breaks down into an individual conversation of, okay, now we know what that price point is and we know what your wishes are. Let us use our expertise to find what funeral home and cemetery best serves your personal needs.
Wow. And so you got, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Basically, what we do is to find a plan that's going to fit into your budget, basically.
Right. And we have the budget. You have the contacts and the resources. So you do all the legwork for the clients. Is that correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
There's no reason to be going to 4 or 5 different funeral homes getting quotes when we can tell you the prices to all of them while we're sitting there at the table.
Our responsibility to you is to provide you with all of your options.
Okay.
And to act as more or less to guide you through the process.
Now, does the same care takes place when we're dealing with the cremation?
I'm sorry, you broke up.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll ask the question again. Does the same quality of care takes place when we're dealing with the cremation?
It takes place for each and every family that we encounter. It doesn't matter if it's casket, burial, cremation. It is the same.
It's the same. Okay. Over the years, what have been some common obstacles that you've heard from sitting across the table with a family? What are some objections? Because what you're saying, it seems like it's one-stop shop. We're gonna fulfill your dream, your desire. We're gonna be the leg people on this. So what are the common obstacles that you hear to pre-planning?
Well, sometimes I'll give you some examples. I've heard things like, well, I'm too young. And true, you may be in the prime of your life, but there's no guarantee as to how much time we have here. Yeah. I've also heard, well, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
But I have found that people take time to make time. If you are concerned about of losing weight, you make time to go to the gym. Right. If you want to continue your education, you make time to go back to school. So time spent pre-arranging is valuable because that way you let your family know exactly what your wishes are. Yeah. I've also heard that I'll let somebody else do it for me. I'll let my kids do it. Now, and this is putting really an unfair strain and burden, an emotional burden and financial burden on your family because they're having to guess as to what you wanted. They have no idea. They're having to guess it, so they're going to make decisions based upon what they think you want. They'll also make decisions from their heart and not from their head. Sometimes they will overspend. And invariably, the final question is, did I do what was right for that person? Did I do the right thing?
Yeah.
Because they don't know. I've also heard too, well, I don't want to think about it. And that's natural. Nobody wants to think about their own mortality. But the fact of the matter is, Reverend Hamilton, that death is inevitable. It is something that is going to happen to each and every one of us. So I know that during the course of a person's life that they make all kinds of plans for different events. You plan for your wedding. You plan when you're going to have your children. You plan for their education. You plan for birthday parties, weddings, etc. So why not stop and take the time to make your arrangements?
Yeah.
Another issue to be considered is too, we also put forth every effort to protect our families. We get homeowners insurance, flood insurance, we get automobile insurance. We've got cameras all over the house. So this is all in an effort to protect your family. So why don't you make your pre-arrangements by really protecting your family? You get all of these insurance policies for the what ifs. It might happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't matter is we're all going to pass away.
Yeah.
So I think it's incumbent upon us all to make those pre-arrangements.
Amen. Wow. Well said. Thank you. Question I have is, you talked about that in these purchasing, this pre-planning arrangement, that it could be done lump sum, the cost could be covered incrementally on a payment plan. How does this work with those who have life insurance? Is this a different entity, or what? How does that work?
So life insurance is intended for the living.
Right.
Life insurance, the reason life insurance is purchased is to maintain a level of living that your family has had while you're being able to financially provide for them.
Mm-hmm.
People sometimes purchase life insurance as a last-ditch effort to say, well, if something happens to me, my life insurance is going to cover the cost of my funeral. And in fact, it may. But what a lot of people don't truly realize is that life insurance does take time to pay out. And life insurance is going to take anywhere from 3 to 7 days maybe to get a check, sometimes up to 21. And whenever a person passes away, if there's no pre-arrangements in place, the funeral home expects payment before services are rendered.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody would be responsible for coming out of pocket for those funds in order to move forward with the services. Now, where the difference lies is we aren't providing life insurance. We're providing your final arrangements, which means that when a person pre-plans with us, not only are they taking care of the financial burden by locking in today's prices, they're conserving their life insurance so that their spouse and their children can go on living the same lifestyle that they were while you were there providing for them financially. But also, when you make pre-arrangements, you're eliminating any of those questions and doubts that your family members would have, because we have everything documented in this personal planning guide with copies of your contracts. And our goal for every family that we serve is where when the time comes, the person responsible can walk into the funeral home carrying this packet,
Mm-hmm.
lay it on the desk of the funeral director and say, unfortunately, the time has come. Mom has passed, and here are her wishes. And that eliminates them from having to answer 150 questions, writing checks to pay for things. And all of these answers, all these questions and things are happening when they're in an emotional fog, right, on the same day that they lost their loved one. So this just makes it so much smoother and easier for the family.
Amen. So once again, for the person that's listening right now, if they have a life insurance policy, so they cannot make Dignity a beneficiary of their life insurance policy in order for you to cover their services. This must be acquired while they're still alive. That's what you're saying.
Well,
go ahead.
Okay. Dignity Memorial could not be the beneficiary because we don't have an insurable interest in that person.
Okay.
So if a family wants to use their life insurance policy, what they do at the time of need, you come to the location of your choice and you present the life insurance policy. And at that point in time, we will take the information and refer it to one of our suppliers who would check that policy to make sure it is still valid, that all of the information is there in terms of social security number, who's the beneficiary, that sort of thing. So, but as Trenton said earlier, the funeral home is going to payment in full.
Yeah.
Because that's how they will render the death certificate. The life insurance company is going to want a death certificate because that's how they're going to render the proceeds. So the family's kind of stuck in the middle. So we have a company that we use that will more or less take that policy and determine here again that it is a valid policy and determine there are enough funds to cover the services.
Okay.
My company, not Dignity, but the company that we use will pay for the services.
Okay.
But basically, they're just putting that money up for that family.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that company is also going to charge a service fee, and whatever is left over will go to the beneficiary.
Okay. I'm just saying that.
I'm sorry. I know it was a long, drawn-out explanation.
No. That was excellent, because there are people who are very familiar with the idea that a family member dies, they get a life insurance policy, and then they go down to the funeral home and start making arrangements. And some of the first time hearing about this pre-planning. So I was just wondering, for those that may have that mindset, to let them know that we're talking about kind of like apples and oranges here. We're not talking about the same thing.
No, this is completely different. If you have a prearranged funeral, then your life insurance does not come into play.
Does not come into play. That's right. That can go on for your family and your loved ones and everything else. What you're saying, I've got what you're saying. So there's someone who's saying, "Wow, I'm excited about this." So where should I start? Someone's asking the question, "Where do I start?" I've heard what you've said. I understand what you've said, and it's very beneficial, and it's obviously necessary. So if someone is desirous of beginning, where do they start?
They call Mary Carter.
They call Miss Mary Carter. So how do they reach Miss Mary Carter? Is there an email address, or is there a phone number we can give?
I can give you my email address and my telephone.
Okay.
I can do that. Yeah.
Okay. And so when they contact Miss Mary Carter, is there anything that they need to bring? Anything they need to have in hand? Any documentation? Or how should they? Okay.
No. I don't expect a family to come in with anything except themselves.
Okay.
And prepared to answer whatever questions that come up, and I can guarantee you there are no silly questions.
Okay.
And their identification.
And
driver's license.
Yeah. Hey, is there a fee for a consultation?
The consultations are at no charge.
Okay. Wow, this is a game changer. This is so great. Just to know that these services are available. Perhaps you may have heard about it in passing, but to get the nuts and bolts of actually how it operates, you guys have done a thorough job of communicating this today, of preparing for the inevitable. Because we all, as you said so wisely, Ms. Mary, that we all have to deal with our mortality. But there's a way in which you don't have to increase the grief by confusion and lack of preparation.
That is it. I'd like to say too that prearranging is not about you. It is about your loved ones. It's about protecting your loved ones. So, and I think one of the greatest gifts you can give your loved ones is to give them peace of mind and the relief of knowing that you have made your prearrangements. So that takes away some of the stress, the guesswork, the worry, and the financial burden.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, you would tell your clients, you bring the desire as what you desire in your end of life celebration, and we'll do the legwork. Right. That's what you're saying.
You're absolutely right. And we make our celebrations of life, they're personalized. They're not all just cookie cutter, as Trenton said earlier. We all are unique, and we are a unique provider as well.
Yeah. I really like what you said about it's really not about you, it's about your loved ones. Wow. And we love our love. Well, Kitchen Table, you've heard something today that you probably didn't think you were going to hear, but you need to hear. And we all need to hear today. So I want to thank so much Miss Mary Carter. I want to thank so much Trenton. Thank you guys so much for making the time to really educate us and also inspire us about what could be, and in many cases, absolutely needs to be. So I want to just thank you. Kitchen Table, I want you to share it with your family. I want you to share it with your uncle and auntie and everybody else. But I thank you. And I want you to join us here again. I'm sorry, before we go, one last word, Miss Mary. Go ahead.
I can give you my telephone number if
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
ready.
Shout it out.
I'm at 281-798-7676.
Say it one more time. 281.
281-798-7676.
Amen. You have the number. Contact Miss Mary Carter. You can see she's willing to serve and she's very knowledgeable about the business that she's in. So I thank you guys oh so much. Kitchen Table, tell somebody what you heard, tell them what's going on. And I'll see you again here at the kitchen table. May God bless you and keep you and use you real good. Have a great